This is Sanya Faisal. I am from Let's Remotify, and today we have with us Hamza Tahir, the CTO of Let's Remotify, Alex, the co-founder of Jobgether, and Maxine, the founder of Pick My Brain. Before we start and dive into the topic and the details of our panel, I would love if you all could give a quick introduction about yourselves. Whoever wants to start.
Yeah, I can go first.
Ladies first.
Oh, sure.
Or default CEO, organization, event host, and then I'll go first.
No, Max, please go first.
Hamza, you're bringing us all together. I can start if you want. That's funny. So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Maxine. I am the CEO and founder of a company called Pick My Brain. We believe that knowledge commerce is the new e-commerce, and the way that we're supporting that is by making it as easy to package, price, and gift your knowledge as it is to buy or package or price or gift a product online. So right now you can kind of imagine building a marketplace as big as Amazon, only instead of products, we just have knowledge where you can book conversations, Pick My Brain sessions, coffees, sessions with people from all around the world, and directly download their knowledge. Similarly, list your brain and let the world know, hey, I am open, available, and accessible to sharing your knowledge. So I'll pause there. I don't know if you want some context. We've raised $650,000 so far. We're raising $3 million right now. We've done 20,000 introductions from people from 88 different countries and unlocked about $1 million in knowledge commerce. And now we're starting to build knowledge marketplaces for different communities, organizations, and universities who also want to unlock more knowledge between their members using marketplace AI and events to do it. So I'll pause there.
Who's next?
So, yeah, I think I can go next. My name is Hamza Tahir. I'm working as CTO and co-founder of this company called Let's Remotify. We're a top talent marketplace that matches top talent from 60 plus countries with these top tech companies that are clients. And we have more than 50,000 people registered on our marketplace. We're not a knowledge marketplace, but we're a talent marketplace, as Maxine was already talking about. And in terms of our clientele, we're mainly focusing on startups and enterprises who are building on AI and generative AI mainly. And so super excited and glad to be here.
So my turn now. So my name is Alex. So I'm one of the co-founders of Jobgether. So Jobgether, we are today the biggest job search engine for remote jobs. Because we realized that most of the remote job platform were either really US based or really like local based, and we really wanted to build something truly global. So what we do at the moment, we have around 150,000 remote job postings published. We are adding around 10,000 new ones every day. And we have a bit more than 1 million talents visiting the website every month. So the company is 15 months old at the moment, and we have big plans to really become the go-to place to find a remote job. And of course, we are a fully remote company with people in South America, people in Madagascar, people in Ukraine. I'm personally based in Spain. So truly remote company.
Three marketplace founders. Sorry, that's cool.
Those were some very good introductions. Okay, so before we dive in, firstly, thank you all of you for being a part of the GoRemote Summit and being a part of this panel. The topic for our panel is unlocking global talent, which includes leveraging remote work to build high-performing and diverse and inclusive teams. So before we dive into the details of the topic, you all are founders or CEOs of such amazing companies. So you're all leaders, right? So when we talk about leadership and when we talk about remote work, my first question that comes up is how you adapt your leadership style to address the unique challenges and opportunities presented by remote work. Anyone can start again.
How about the two guys that work at the marketplace for remote work?
Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, sure, Alex.
No, I mean, for me, first of all, I think being a manager on site in an office and being a manager remotely shouldn't be that different. And I think remote work is really exposing just the fact that we had bad managers for such a long time. But the essence of being a manager is quite similar. Of course, I'm going to now deep dive into some concrete examples and why there are some specifics of being a remote manager. But essentially, being a manager is looking after your team, making sure your team is happy. Because if your team is happy and if your team is feel safe in a nice environment, your team will be productive. That's why I believe. So in a remote work, what I see, because for 10 years I've been like I guess most of us, I've been working in an office with a suit and a tie on every day, taking on a tube and going to an office. What I see, one of the main differences I see in a fully remote company is it's much more multicultural. When I was in London, most people were Western European, I would say. Today we have people from, as I said before, South America, we have people from Eastern Europe, we have people from Asia, we have people from Africa. And you don't manage people from Ukraine the same way you manage people from Colombia, for example. So you need to be aware of that. It's not easy, but you need to adapt your management to the person you're actually talking to. In some countries, you can be maybe very straightforward. In some countries, you can't. So that's for me one of the maybe difference, because naturally, as a full remote company, you have much more diversity. When you are working with fully remote teams, you don't see people. You don't see when they're sad. You don't see when they're tired. I mean, or you don't see as much because they're just not next to you. So for me, what's really important is to create a really healthy and safe environment, because what you want is these people to feel perfectly fine and perfectly safe to come to you when things are not going well. It could be a work problem, it could be a personal problem, it could be whatever, but you're not going to see when they're not well, so they should be fine to come to you. Because if they don't come to you, what's going to happen naturally is they will probably end up leaving without you not having a chance to actually help them. So that's really important. Maybe two more points. Managing remote teams is you can't be a micromanager. That just sounds silly to say that, but you just can't micromanage people. Instead, you should empower them to work, alone, to be accountable, because, and we're going to come back to that later, but when you are working with a fully remote team, you are most likely going to work very asynchronously. You're not going to be behind, you just can't be behind them all the time, and you shouldn't be behind them all the time. So, if you work with someone 8 hours earlier in the time zone than you just need to trust them, and they need to feel trusted that they can do the job and they will do the job alone. So really create this, empowerment to these people to make sure it's going to work. And the last point I would say is learn to be asynchronous. That's not easy. Know for me that it took me and my other co-founders. It took us a bit of time because we all came from like very old style in office background. Being asynchronous for me is one of the keys to a successful full remote environment. Because I don't think you should force people in Colombia to work at night because you are in Europe and it's just not possible. So learn to be asynchronous, learn to have an answer to your question, not just in 2 minutes, but maybe in 5 hours. And you actually realize that you're fine having the answer 5 hours later, most of the time. And once you have that, you can, in my opinion, work very well as a full remote company.
Amazing. I think I totally agree with some of some of your points are super strong, especially when you mentioned not micromanaging the people, right? And giving them this liberty to take leadership and just lead from the front. And one of the principles, right, like that we not just me, but in all the teams that I previously worked at different companies before running this company was this core leadership principle, which was lead by example. So in a remote work setting, I firmly believe that your actions and behaviors set the tone for the team. And because you're not working in an office environment, and everybody as a human, we get our energy directly from the people, right, where we're working with. So in a remote environment, it's actually, right, like more of your actions. And for example, coming up with this super amazing energy in the morning and addressing your team members, and starting the day with setting some kind of, right, like examples or stuff like that, that thing really helps. But in terms of the other principles or things that we kind of, right, like ensure while working or introducing leadership within our teams is, first of all, setting clear communication. We feel like communication, not just in a remote work setting, overall is crucial. And but in remote work, it's super, it's like adrenaline, or it's actually, right, like the backbone of the company, of your daily tasks and everything. So not just doing the clear communication in video meetings and stuff like that, but also using proper mediums and channels where people are mostly active. At times, team members are mostly active on the Slack, but there are companies that many teams that work in different tools. So giving them this flexibility to use multiple tools, where they can have their own workflows and stuff. They can build bots, or they can just make WhatsApp groups to do their task or something. So we're super flexible. So just clear communication, embracing technology in a way, right, like introducing different tools. And then, of course, there should be one platform like Slack or Microsoft Teams or something, where you can communicate and you can share all the information, but giving people this independence to choose the tools and make different introductions of these technological advancements going on. For example, chat GPT and everything that's trending at the moment. Another thing, that we really focus on, some two more points, is flexibility, which you just mentioned, right? So in a remote work setting, as you mentioned, just like Jobgether, we also have teams working from different time zones: Latin America, US, Canada, Africa, and of course, right, Asia. So flexibility, remote works, should often come with flexibility, acknowledging the team members and their difficulties within different hours. So there should be an overlapping time zone, overlapping time where people from different time zones can actually do co-working, and that actually does transfer that leadership style, or this this actually, right, like skill of you to actually build that vibe within the team to achieve those set KPIs and stuff. And another thing that we also do is regular check-ins, because although you do have daily stand-ups and you try to have minimum meetings, but having these regular check-ins where people can come and drop by and share all the blockers or stuff like that, that also helps. And of course, right, that all comes if you give your people the liberty to use the tools and uh, take on, right, like I mean, like, avoid micromanagement and everything. So that's some of the things I wanted to add.
That's good. I think I can only add, like, I'll contextualize what you both said really well, is like, as we become more global and remote, the diversity increases, and therefore the flexibility and fluidity must increase, and therefore the communication must increase, and our cultural awareness must increase, which is wonderful. Actually, it's quite interesting getting a deeper understanding of what certain countries' skills and strengths and challenges are, even knowing a country that intimately, because you get to work with them, and just, learn more. I think cultural awareness could be something we could all, I would love to continuously invest in that as someone who also runs a global team. Which is kind of exciting. I'm like, oh, does that push society closer to a more empathetic world the more global and remote we get? Because it does require flexibility, diversity, fluidity, and conversation and connection and check-ins. I hope so. For our company, very similar to what you guys both said. What I also love is you get to pull from a global pool set to talent pool set even more. And we're getting more and more granular about being able to pull and flexible, right? Fractional work is rising faster than ever. And a lot of really smart and intelligent people who have put 20 to 40 years into their career are fractionalizing their time. And these guys are available to come in, and they actually can like quantum leap your company sometimes. So I don't even think of hiring sometimes in terms of like day to day, but hiring minds to forge partnerships and to adjust chiropractically the workings of your model is also incredibly empowering. And, it's one of my reasons for creating Pick My Brain. I was like, wow, if I could have a session and a conversation with anyone I desire, I am like unstoppable then. Like I can build, I can learn, I can advance, if I can learn on demand, I can do anything on demand. I'm not worried about becoming skillless in this new, very fast changing economy. And I love, I heard for the first time in society that we are progressing faster than our minds can even keep up with. And the only way that we're going to be able to keep up with the iterations of ChatGPT and AI is if we collaborate. We're going to have to collaborate in order to keep up with the speed of technology. And I find that very, I love that. I love that we're going to be forced and pushed to collaborate in order to be really good collaborators again with different countries and cultures and industries. And it's blurring. This economy is blurring. So all the jobs that, what has Dell said, that this is pre-COVID, 80% of the jobs that are going to exist by 2030 don't even exist today. We saw that multiple times happen in our lifetime. Social media manager, that now ChatGPT coach and consultant. Like what? We would have told each other that 3 years ago. We're like, what is that? So again, the speed at which everything is evolving allows us to have to be more on demand and more checking in and more conversations, which I really like. But yeah, I think everyone should really invest in communication, brevity, tonality, simplicity, and really find the tools that allow you to stay connected. What we're doing for other companies is, I think that big companies past 5,000 employees. Okay. So I'm like a much smaller company, but this applies a little bit differently as you scale. But I think it should be just as important to count the number of conversations and connections an organization is facilitating between their employees as it is to count the other KPIs, commerce, revenue, expenses. Every corporate job I've ever had, I was siloed, and it was next to impossible to have conversations with people from different countries and industries and departments. And I was like, well, we're working on the same mission. This makes no sense. So I think that there's going to be this overlay that's going to have to happen again within companies that are at that size to really, mix and mingle and unlock more. So I'll pause there, but good convo.
That was a very good discussion. And speaking from like a remote worker perspective as well, I believe it's not just very convenient when you're given the liberty to work at your own time and at your own pace. It's also very empowering and keeps you motivated as well. Something I picked from this conversation was, I believe Hamza mentioned his leadership principle being like leading by example, right? So I would love to know what leadership principle or strategy has been particularly effective for you both in leading remote teams.
Leadership. A topic that I can continuously dissect and learn as I get older and older. And as young, the word leader meant so like a limited scope of things, and now it's just so broad and range. Do we want to go reverse? We'll find a flow. I'll pick up and you guys add. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, the thing I do that I try to do that helps me evolve the fast and I feel like affects my team and my community is working on my perspective and my awareness and my ability to connect with people and identify opportunities. And the way I do that is by signing up and for a lot of conversations and learning what companies do and why they do it, and learning what people do and why they do it, and how they most want to be of service to the world. I could tell you every single one of my employees and a lot of my community members and all of my investors' mission, their purpose. And this is how I identify people. I don't identify them by their job title anymore. I identify them by their mission. Like, where is their mission? How sizable is their mission? How clear is it? And if I know everyone's mission, I can allocate resources very effectively and efficiently and people towards exactly what they're going after. So I found that as a leader, if I know that about everyone around me, as the one who is setting the vision and allocating the resources, I can do that the most effectively.
For me, to answer some example, when I mentioned that you need to create like a safe environment to your people, I really, we have 22 people today from, I think it's 9 different countries. I really, really care about learning about them as a person, but also as a person in a different country, so in different culture. And I'm just saying, we have people in Madagascar, for example, not just knowing what is the capital of Madagascar, but just what is life over there, what's your life? Because, there are 5 people in Madagascar, but they don't have the same life. Some people live in a busy city center. Some people live, one of them has a farm, it has chickens and donkeys. And so I think when you truly care about people and when you truly want to learn about people, you create this safe environment naturally. And you also show that people are here, not just to be one more person and do a job and go home. They're here because you care about them and you want them to be part of the company. And I believe that if you, do that as a co-founder, that should naturally push the person to do the same with their colleagues, maybe the colleague from Colombia this time. And like this, you push for internal communication, which is not always easy because of time zone, because of languages, because of many things. So you push people to truly care about each other, to truly know about each other. And that's also how you create a nice company culture.
Yeah, I'd like to add, this is really, really interesting, right? And I feel like, I missed something that I really wanted to, add into this, which is, adaptability and work-life balance, right? When it comes to also leadership and also, right, like managing the team. And at times we feel like, a lot of companies who had challenge to, transition into distributed teams or remote teams, they used to think, right, like that, people in remote works environment, they tend to work less, right? Although I think, right, like it's totally reversed when because you have to keep your laptop everywhere, and then again, right, like that, setting that example, leading from the front would be, right, that it's not just you adapt to these new changes and challenges that your team members are having from different time zones. For example, we have team members from Nigeria, and electricity challenges are super, super serious, and they're a reality, right? And you cannot, it's not right, like you cannot hire from that country, or you cannot work people from there. It's right, like how they've already uplifted themselves and already managing and contributing into the global workforce. So I know, right, like this team member of mine, he has a solar panel attached directly to his laptop, so his laptop gets charged from the solar panel. It's a very new thing in Nigeria that I recently recently that I learned. And so it's about learning new things as well at times, as as a leader, as somebody who's leading a team or a company. So having this kind of flexibility towards learning and adaptability, that's also some you should be setting these examples by allowing people to do these kind of things. And of course, work life balance, if you have a nice work life balance in your own life, that'll inspire more of your team members to do the same as well. For example, something that I really push at times to my team is that until unless it's super serious, don't bug the team members on weekends with lots of emails and stuff, because it's not just about, right, everybody needs to work on weekends all the time to be, for a startup, especially a growth stage startup, to exceed. It's about, right, like utilizing the week to its full extent, and respecting everybody's time as well. So that's something I wanted to discuss.
Love that.
Yeah, and as a manager, I think whatever you can say, if you don't show the example, if you don't do it yourself, it's not gonna work. So you need to be, you need to match what you do to what you say. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's not gonna work.
absolutely.
Yeah. And you're evolving at the same time. So it's always sometimes like, you're trying to find, like, I myself, like, how do I work and live and play? Like, I'm very fluid. Like, I don't know what day of the week means what, I'm just kind of my working style has also adjusted with the remote, being a CEO of a global company. But yeah, like, always checking in, but sharing fun pictures too. Like, yeah, what I would love to see your employee's computer connected to a solar panel and that be a post on LinkedIn. Inspiring. Super inspiring, and like so empowering that you think, like, I would probably think if I was maybe in that position that maybe I am restricted to what job I can have because of that. But no, like, yeah, we have to be flexible, but then the consumer has to be flexible. And I hope our companies become flexible. Like, we got to chill out a little bit. Yeah. I like that.
Definitely. And it is very important for not just remote workers, but remote leaders to be very flexible with their team as well. But like, along with flexibility, I believe providing structure to your team is also very important, because when you have like a certain structure, that's how you ensure that obviously their work is done, and there's proper collaboration within the team as well. But it's very difficult to ensure structure and ensure flexibility at the same time. So, well, my question here is that how do you maintain a balance between providing structure for your remote team and along with that allowing flexibility for individual working preferences as well?
Alex, you start this one.
I start. Okay, I start. So first of all, what I'm going to say now is what I believe, and it doesn't mean this is what it should be for everyone, because I think like in any organization, there's no one rule fits all. And then first, I'm going to start by telling what flexibility means to me, and to the Jobgether, at least the way we see flexibility. The way we see this flexibility comes under three axes: is the where, the when, and the how. So when you are, managing a fully remote company, you give people the chance to decide where to work, because remote work is not just work from home. I guess here you guys know that, but sometimes people make the confusion is, I don't want to work from home all the time. You don't have to. You can go to the office if there is one. You can go to today I was working from a pub in London. You can work from a co-working. You can work from your friend's house. So the where is, where do you prefer to work? The when is when you prefer to work. For example, I am not a morning person. I don't start my day until like 9:30 a.m. Some people are working people and want to start at 5 a.m. and that's fine. Some people want to work at night. I love working at night, for example. But sometimes I would just go, take from 1 to 3 to the gym. And that's fine. And I think that has to be fine when you are running a remote company. And the last part is the, how you work, which tool do you use? Because the way how I work is probably different to the way Hamza work or Maxine work. So that's for me my definition of flexibility. And of course, especially when you launch a full remote company for the first time, you need to find the balance between, because you want to give a lot of flexibility about everything to your people. Yeah, fine, work whenever you want, work wherever you want. But then you realize, okay, you also need to set up some rules in a way to make sure that's working. Because at the end of the day, you are paying these people and they have to deliver. So for us, for example, after, maybe a year, we realized that maybe some rules were missing. So we just basically sit down as founders, and then we sit down with the team to explain, okay, we give you a lot of freedom, but in return, you also need to to follow some rules. So for example, one thing that we do is, of course, it's always like completely 3 hours. We don't tell you to work 8 hours or 10 or whatever. People work whenever they want. And the way we did it to make sure the project, for example, we had some projects, they were late sometimes. And it's like, yeah, but today I only work in the morning. Yeah, but project is late. So what we done, and that's actually working very well, is again, talking about empowering people, is doesn't matter if you are a junior or senior person, if you are in a company for a week or 6 months or 2 years, we are giving you projects. Depending on your skills, we are giving you, a project, and you are in charge of delivering that project. You can be in a company for a week and be in charge of a project and have in your team one of the CEO of the company, for example. And by doing this, we realize that we are basically pushing people to be much more accountable. They are, accountable to actually, ask for help for whatever person they need in the company, and they have a straight deadline. And every Tuesday we have a company meeting where we basically tell everyone what we've done last week and so on. And that's also the time when we present what we've been doing. And by giving someone, even a junior person, for example, the responsibility of the project and the responsibility to present that project on a weekly meeting, it's adding in a bit of pressure, one that I need to deliver, because they give me the chance to lead a project, even if I'm only 22 and I've been in a week, I'm leading a project. So I need to deliver the project. And since we're doing that, people are delivering on time much, much better than before. People are feeling more powerful in a way because we're giving them responsibility to lead the project. And the projects are always important for the business, So this is one example that we put in place to make sure we keep the flexibility, but at the same time, we ask for more accountability, and we use this trick or this way to actually make it a win-win for everyone.
Love that. Do you write about that? I feel like lots of companies could use that little tip or trick to do little projects. I mean, Google's got their 20% thinking time, and they get to create whatever they want. I really like that one too, but I haven't heard of like consistent projects being led by all. I love it. That's really good. Over you, Hamza.
Yeah, so I think Alex, first of all, those are really, really nice insights, especially right, like managing the teams and your definition of flexibility. I really loved that. So I think right, like for me as well, these things, these strategies that we do, they're not right, like they're a universal rule book or something like that for these. It's right, like it's about absorbing the vibe of the people that you're working with, especially working in such a multicultural team and different time zone and everything. I feel like it's the thing that I really focus on is to connect with my people, especially right from the first day of their hiring and everything, especially when you have to place these structures and flexibility and sharing everything with them. Of course, some of the things we do follow just like everybody else, which is giving them the flexibility to work in their own time zones, having these core overlapping working hours, which we already mentioned, so that we can actually do core meetings and daily stand-ups and stuff like that in that. But also being result oriented rather than monitoring the time and stuff, because that's what we actually focus on, that at the end of the day, are you just it doesn't matter, just like you said, if you have to work 8 hours a day or 9 to 5 or anything like that. It's more about the way we work in our team is we work in a way that we have story points, we have points for all the deliverables and stuff. So you have to achieve or you have to meet, for example, let's suppose 20 points in 2 weeks or in a month. That depends again on from teams to team, because I'm mostly working with the developer team and the growth marketing team or the product team. So we have these points which actually give you this flexibility to manage your, or your map your overall week. So because I feel like not everybody can work on 100% strength daily, because because of lots of different challenges at times, the commute issues, or you're settling in a coffee shop where you don't you're working out of a coffee shop just because of the nice weather, and you don't have nice weather or Wi-Fi or something, and then you go back, you have to go back to a co-working space. So it's like this in within remote, there's just so much stuff. So having these kind of points, our team, right, like they have this liberty to every team members, they know, right, like on which day they have to achieve what, so that they can get these this score of, right, like for example minimum 20, and then if they exceed, that's that's actually, right, like bonus. For example, they can use that time to for their personal growth as well. We have these different courses and stuff that we're already always sharing with the teams, and so that once you're done with your work that we've already added in a tool like Trello or Jira, they can use. For example, we have learning Fridays. That's a concept within our team, so that you use your Fridays for your personal and tech uplifting, because we're really using tools all the time, and giving people this flexibility to not just do the work, but also to uh, help them grow on the career path that they set. That's also something that we keep on trying, giving them the resources and everything. And yeah, just I mean, like we try to empower our people with giving them this liberty to take decisions, fail things, right. We don't care about that. Just come up with something that they failed, and we'll have a discussion on this, and being flexible on that front as well. So I mean, like there's just so many things that we keep on trying, and it's just, I feel like it's very personal from teams to team and from company to company. It's just about how good you know about know your people and their challenges, and being able to respect their not just work and but their work as well.
Yeah, I'm just nodding away over here. Totally. I agree with everything everyone has said, and I don't even know if I can add anything of value. Let me think. My job right now, I'm like a goal-oriented girl that likes quantum jumping and nonlinear growth. So I sometimes look at it a little bit differently. Like Pick My Brain's goal is to build 100 B2B marketplaces this year for groups that are the size of 1,000 to 100,000. And there's other qualifiers. They're mission based. They're relevant right now, and the world needs it. They fit in either a university type education atmosphere, or an association doing really empowering work, or a nonprofit. And so I don't think in terms of time. I just think of, okay, I got to close 100. I got to partner with 100 leaders of these organizations over the next 3 years. My team knows that really clearly. We built our dream list really clearly. We're all like, we know what we have to achieve. And so instead of like I set out the target or the goal, and then we just check in weekly, deeply. How are we moving it forward? Oh my goodness, this week we closed 5. Let's pause. We got to let the dev team catch up now and do the onboarding. Let's like take a break off partnerships. And it's just, like you said, you got to be so flexible and structured at different times. And it's like riding a river or a wave or mountain biking, which are like the sports that I do in BC that I feel like complement what we're all saying. Is like, you got to have this certain amount of understanding of the machine or the tool that you're riding, which is your business, and that they all operate independently. Mountain biking is very different than surfing. And you got to understand your surfboard, you got to understand your mountain bike, and you got to know that there's elements of nature that are going to come into your control, and that you just believe in your ability to handle it when it comes. And yeah, I think what you guys both said about really deeply knowing your employees is so important, and is like maybe the greatest evolution that we've like, I feel like we're going through is that deeper relationship with when you start a company. For sure, you have just like the deepest relationships with your staff and partners, because you're going through so much growth so fast. But I think corporate companies could do what we're seeing is corporate companies do not know what they're sitting on. They don't know the skills of their employees outside the one thing that they were hired for. And there's actually so much, oh my gosh, they're just sitting on so much. Like I just found out one of the companies we're working for, House is the world's second best jazz musician. I was like, did you know the world's best like jazz musician works at your company? Like, is there any way we could like work that in? Like, could they open for a meeting? Can we build in those types of things into the company to draw on these passion-driven skills that we also have as well? So yeah, freedom and structure and clarity on your vision and mission. How clear is your one pager? How quickly can you onboard someone into your mission and immediately turn them into productive? That's another thing that I'm really learning how to operationalize. I want the least amount of employees and the most amount of impact. So I'm always trying to think, how can I quickly turn someone into a pick my brain advocate kit that could reach one of my, my one B2B deal and identify it immediately within 5, 10, 20 minutes of meeting them and navigating that way. So yeah, vision, mission, flexible freedom, building this, all of us being in this situation, I think we're designing it as we go through it as well, because it's all new and all evolving so quickly. But again, we've got some root principles. Like we all have values. We all want to be heard. We all want to operationalize. We all want to expand our consciousnesses personally, professionally. I believe that to be true of people. And so how can our jobs and our leadership expand those that we touch the most?
Definitely. And obviously, when you have such a diverse team and you have people from all around the world, there's so much you can learn from everyone. And there's so much new perspectives that everyone would bring to your team. But obviously, when you have people from a very diverse background, you have someone from Asia, someone from North America, people from very different backgrounds, right? It's difficult sometimes for teams to blend in and work together, and it's difficult for everyone to maybe adjust together into a strong community or very strong team, right? So what initiatives or activities have you found most effective in promoting team bonding and a strong sense of community within remote team members?
I think, first of all, you can have a team of 20 people from London, very diverse, and people who maybe will never be friends. And they're all English, they're all from London, and they all were born 10 minutes apart. So it's not because they come from different countries, continents, that they're not gonna get along, they're not gonna blend in. Of course, for cultural reasons, that might be in a way harder because you have the cultural aspect that you're not used to. But it's not only people from very different continents that just come blend in. It could happen in the same city, and I've seen that. I think, first of all, you just can't force people to get along, to be friends in a company. For example, for me, when people say, "Oh, a company is a family," I don't agree with it. The company is not a family. And problem actually happen when you're forcing people to become friends. And of course, you don't want to have conflicts, of course, but working in the same company doesn't mean you have to be friends. You need to be nice to each other. You need to have respect to each other, but you don't have to be best friend and go out, together on weekends. However, so that was just a small comment from me before answering your question. However, of course, you want a good atmosphere and you want people to get along professionally, because if you need people to work together, product and tech, sales and marketing, for example, they are teams that have to work together. So of course you need to push for better bonding. So one point I want to say is, first of all, being a fully remote company doesn't mean never meeting in person. And I think that you have to meet your colleagues. Yes, it's not easy, of course, depending on how spread they are. For example, at Jobgether, we do regional meetings. So around 3 times a year, we do one physical meeting in Europe, one physical meeting in South America, normally Colombia. This is where we have most people, and we do one meeting in Madagascar because we have a third of the company in each of these 3 regions, and we want people to actually meet. We haven't done a global meeting. We want to do it one day. We haven't done it yet, but of course, it's more logistic. It's more budget. It's more flight ticket. We also try to avoid flight, and so that's one way. And I think that has to happen to meet in person, because I really believe once you meet someone in person, the relationship does boom, goes to a next level. The trust goes to a next level. However, what we do, for example, at Jobgether is we every meeting we always start the first 5 minutes. We don't talk about work. We call it like the first fun 5 minutes, where we talk about whatever we want. We want to talk about a weekend, the football game, whatever. It's in a way pushes people to tell the others about themselves, what they've done, what they like. It could be a silly question about whatever, really. So that's, for example, one example that we do. We also do, so once a month, we do online like activities, some games, where we split the teams. It could be, it doesn't have to be complicated games. It could be, there are websites for that, there are tools for that, where we just want people to play with each other, to talk to each other. And we will not do just the tech team playing together, because they're all there on Discord, talking, laughing to each other. We want to mix the tech team with the marketing team, with the product, and with the sales, for example. So they're just two examples, and then I will let the other talk. But we are pushing people to communicate more between teams, but at the same time, we don't want to over push people. We just want to do like the first 5%, 10%. And then if they want to spend more time together, if they want to talk together, we give them the tools for that. For example, we use Discord internally, we use Google Meet. They can really easily talk and exchange and share and whatever. But I think you need to push a minimum to create this communication, and then that will happen or that will not happen. But that's the same, on site. So you can't force it too much.
Yeah, I think you actually covered most of the activities and stuff that we actually do at the company as well. For example, these cultural exchanges. There's something that I really look forward to every year whenever we're creating the timeline of the company, especially right, like adding these activities within the company. So retreats and cultural exchanges are my favorite thing, and of course, right, like everybody else over here as well. Especially, we also have these different office locations, one in Silicon Valley, one in Dubai, and one in Estonia. So we tend to send our people also, right, like to these really nice spaces, which are normally, so we use our offices more like co-working spaces in these different parts of the world, where people can come free of cost. They can get a coffee and they can just say hi to our team that is working out of these offices. But having these cultural exchanges where you because everybody's working remotely and you barely even get time except for these meetings to interact with your team members. What we do at these exchanges, that one thing that is really really famous is everybody brings something from their home country, something like something to eat, a snack, or something like that, right? And having this multicultural table full of different snacks and something, everybody trying them, telling a story about it from their childhood or something. That's something I feel like that I can actually remember everyone's stories and about the snacks and stuff. Especially this latest retreat that we did in Singapore, that was amazing. So that's, of course, cultural exchanges are there. So and at the same time, these retreats also help us to do these cultural awareness and trainings as well, right? Because uh, it starts by promoting cultural awareness among the team members, and then encouraging them to learn about each other culture, values, and customs as well. Because there's so many different norms and language and a lot of different things, right, like that they can, when they have these this communication at these on-site events, or maybe even online cultural awareness programs that you can introduce within your company, gives them, right, like this new diverse viewpoint, or which is which is another learning experience. So that's of course there. And one thing that I wanted to add was also, that something which you already mentioned, that having these kind of different amazing games that we also play once a month within the company, where you can play Among Us or any other tools. And there's a very nice co-working space app that is online co-working, remote co-working space app that we use to, where it's not about, right, like that I'm sitting in a co-working space or an office at the moment. It's an online app. People can come. You can do co-working with different teams. You can feel this sense of connectivity. Because I feel like, in this world of being remote, and especially when the COVID happened, this connectivity challenge was super super serious, and people are using AR VRs to get this, to have this feeling of connectivity with the other humans through games and stuff. So having these kind of games, this co-working space where you can, right, like just move around your chair and you can see your team members sitting even in a virtual space. That these new latest technological advancements are making it more, connected and amazing at the same time. And yeah, I mean, there's so many different things which you already mentioned. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I can talk about, but over to you, Maxine.
Well, it's still interesting to hear two, founders and like executives of teams have the just emphasize the importance of connecting and how to make it fun. Even two very different, like just hearing you guys have very similar, we play games, we get our teams connected, and we do retreats. I think retreats, the future of retreats are big and broad. And I just came back from one, and it wasn't with my team, but the invite was, we're going to bring 12 mission-based founders who are really into outdoors and nature together for 4 days in Utah. And the goal is just to unlock growth. I was like, I'll sign up. It's just enough for me to know, to go be in a physical space with people who I know I'll get along with and be able to go deep with in 4 days. And it was unbelievable. And then so I turned around and hosted a retreat for a segment of our community. Again, bringing those people together in a facilitated manner and allowing them to have those moments at the kitchen when they're making coffee, or when they're getting ready for bed, like that's like, you get to see like a whole range of someone. You don't forget someone when you have spent a night with them. So I think those are really important. I actually I just had a little vision of like all going to Google or going to these big companies with 10,000 plus employees and be like, you need a full-time CRO, but this is not a chief revenue officer, it's a chief retreat officer. And you should probably be planning some really epic retreats for your employees consistently throughout the year. And while I don't have a big team, I have 6 on my team right now full-time that are mostly executive positions, but I have a large community that spans a number of countries. And the way I keep Pick My Brains community together is very simple. Once a month, I host a global networking event, or global knowledge exchange, we call it. And I invite everyone onto a Zoom room. And so hundreds of people will log on to this Zoom room. And it's an hour long, and I just do 3 different questions and 3 breakout rooms with different people in the room, and just let them connect. And like Alex said, you just got to give them the introduction and then the opportunity to follow up. The magic will happen, but I think the people that can facilitate 2 people coming together is all that you kind of is needed. And then you trust that the values and the attraction and the magnetism will work from there. So yeah, we just try to introduce as many people in our community as we can regularly, and that actually creates this consistent knowledge commerce, purchasing, and trust as well. There's just so many opportunities that unlock when you know people and what they do and how they are. You can just consistently find business. You can consistently find opportunities for learning. So yeah, just we're on this mission to facilitate 10 million conversations between the world's people every year. And we think if we can do that, there will be this level of connectivity between all of us. That will allow us to just, again, be fluid and flexible and free all at once.
That's amazing. And there's one thing that I totally skipped was especially we have this really nice Slack channel. It's called Global Memes. So everybody shares, right, different memes from their regions and stuff. What it has enabled us to see, right, like what people do for fun and stuff. It's all, I mean, like, doing these little things within these big tools, I feel like their impact are super massive. And just these introductions that Alex and you mentioned, these ice-breaking things are often start with something that's funny or stuff like that. So we have this culture within the team that keep sharing memes, especially when you're at work. And of course, I like really nice office desks that you have at the home or anywhere else. That's also right, like some of the things that people start and then feel connected and stuff.
Mhm.
Definitely. And at the end, it's the little things that count, because obviously you can make the best team, you can get the most experienced or the most talented employees, but it's the little things which keeps the team together and keeps everyone together and actually makes it very effective within a remote collaboration, right? So just before we wrap up, I would like to know a little bit about what would be a key takeaway or a piece of advice you would offer to the people viewing this, and what do you think should be their takeaway from this, and how they can ensure that within a remote setting teams can be so successful and well collaborated.
I think I can go first. I mean we've already I feel like it's something uh, that cannot be summarized in a message, but I'll try to focus on something that is really close to us. Especially at Let's Remotify, which is encouraging diverse input and feedback. Having this big team from different parts of the world, this feedback and inputs, they can do wonders, right? I've personally seen the impact. And it's not just you can foster a culture of trust, respect and learning, but also these things leverage the collective wisdom of your team as well. So I feel like the feedback and the inputs, encouraging people, trying out different things. We use different tools like culture app and stuff for these things, and they're really powerful.
For me, what I can say is first, we need to stop the remote bashing that we see every day on the news and newspapers. Um, no, just three things. If you do want to lead like a full remote company, or if you want to start, move to a fully remote mode, you just trust your people, empower your people, and give them the right tools, and that'll be fine. And as Hamza was saying, you'll see you can really make wonders, and you can really have a really successful company. And don't think that because you have an office and you force your guys to come to the office every day, that will be better. I don't think it will. I think being fully remote makes you, having the opportunity to just have the best person for the role, the best person for your company, whoever the person is. Whether the person is in Australia or in Canada or in Senegal, it doesn't really matter. You just have the right person for the role. But yeah, you just have to trust them. So that would be my advice.
Trust is a good one. I'll say, because I am promoting, or I am known for just, conversations lead to connections, lead to commerce, lead to trust, lead to understanding, global empathy, awareness, is like, go meet the world's people. I want to challenge the world to meet 10 new people a year. And make an active effort to make sure that those people are from different countries, cultures, backgrounds, generations. And in doing so, you will equip and you will be ready for remote work. You'll be ready for the future economy. You will be able to converse and connect with anyone when you travel. And I think that skill can just be endlessly sanded and practiced. And if we all just committed to meeting 10 new people intentionally around the world, I think the world would be a far different place, and opportunities would just be completely abundant. There would be zero scarcity in that world. It'd be impossible, because every conversation inspires about 100 ideas. And then we start to learn that we can, very easily, with the tools that exist, exchange and work on those ideas together. So meet 10 people, commit to doing it. If you don't know how to do it, go to Pick My Brain. There's thousands of people that are open and available to meeting you and sharing their knowledge with you intimately. Take them up on it, and you will be ready for any economy that comes your way.
Actually, on this topic, I actually studied Jobgether with my co-founder Juan, who I met online in March 2020, so the first month of lockdown. And we started Jobgether without meeting each other, without knowing each other.
I love that.
And it's working. We're still working together. And
look at how much you both unlocked. Like, it's actually bananas when you think about the value of that meeting on like so many people's lives. 2 people coming together for a very short period of time. So yeah, power of connection. Go meet the world's people. Unlock all the ideas that exist.
Definitely. This has been a wonderful talk, and not just me. I believe everyone who's seeing this right now has learned a lot, and it's been very insightful. Thank you so much, all of you, for being a part of the GoRemote Summit. It was truly an honor talking to all of you and having you all here. If you have any last words or anything to say, feel free to go ahead.
Some quote. Yeah.
I think we're good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.